Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to Talking Hypnosis, brought to you by Hypnothoughts Live. And today I have the very, very special honor of speaking with the creator of Hypnothoughts Live, Scott Sandland. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks for having me, Didi.
Great. So let me tell you all a little bit about Scott, because he's quite impressive. Scott Sandland is a trusted and highly respected professional in the field of hypnotherapy. He's also the youngest hypnotherapist to ever be on staff at a doctor's office, a dentist's office, and a drug rehab center. So in addition to working with local medical, dental, and drug rehabilitation offices, Scott has also had a private practice in Newport Beach, California for over 15 years. He is also the creator of the largest online free resource in the history of hypnosis called Hypnothoughts.com. And he and Richard Clarke are also the founders of the school HPTI and Hypnothoughts Live, which is currently the largest hypnosis conference in the profession. So to say that you are ambitious might be a little bit of an understatement, Mr. Sandland.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a bit of a workaholic.
Right. So tell us, because for me, when I first discovered Hypnothoughts, the online community, I just thought, wow, this is so generous. This is so amazing. People just post videos. They share information with one another. It's all open, and it's a philosophy of collaboration versus competition, it was just amazing for me, and I'm sure all the other people who are willingly contributing to this because they want us all to collaborate versus be in competition with one another. So what was your original intention when you launched the Hypnothoughts community?
So a big part of Hypnothoughts was me looking at two things. One was there were all these Yahoo groups back then. And the technology behind a Yahoo group is pretty primitive. It's text only. It's not graphically pleasing. It's not organized particularly well. And I knew that we could do something better with technology. This was like a dozen years ago. I knew we could do something better, but the key is I had to get people. I had no mailing list. I didn't even really have a reputation. I had nothing. Mm-hmm. But I built a platform. I used some software to build a platform. And my idea was, look, I'm going to offer this space that isn't my echo chamber where I'm the king of things. Right. I want to create a thing where everyone plays by the same rules. And it's not one of those things where if you're not promoting my stuff, I ban you. Or we're only here to talk about me. We're not here to talk about your stuff. I wanted to create something where I said, look, all you thought leaders, all you important people, I'm going to give you better technology for free to promote your stuff. Just be cool about it. And here are the simple rules. And let's make advertising go over here and true contribution go over here. And if we do this right, people don't feel like they're getting spammed. And it forces contributors and those sort of industry leaders to prove that they really know what they're talking about. And most of them do. Yeah. So they welcomed that opportunity. Yeah. And so everyone was playing by the same rules. And it gave everyone an equal chance to share. And if you give everyone an equal chance to share, you see who wants to. And, our community as a profession is one that values that and values paying it forward. And, I've been very fortunate to have wonderful mentors throughout my career. And I like to pay that forward as well. And so building a space where it was easy for people to do that was all I had to do. And then the good intentions just showed up and built it.
They honestly do, and can I tell you how amazing it is when I, have a client call and they're outside of my, my specialty, and
Sure.
And I feel free to contact any of the hypnotherapists from Hypnothoughts Live or Hypnothoughts Online. I feel free, it's just such a wonderful feeling, and they'll call me right back and they'll take the time to explain, okay, how to do this. It's such an amazing system of what we're calling nowadays contributism, where everybody works together for the community of it. So it's really, really amazing. So how did you go from Hypnothoughts Online to being one of the largest hypno conferences right now?
It's kind of a funny story. I actually just got in a little bit of trouble for telling someone the true answer to this, but I'm going to tell the true answer to this because I think honesty is awesome. we were getting pretty big, and we had a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement and a lot of people contributing. And one of our members said, "Hey, the NGH conference is in like 2 months. Mm-hmm. We should get a meetup there. We should get a whole bunch of hypnotists to go do that." And I said, "Well, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Let's make it happen." And someone said, "Well, maybe we could all get buttons so you can identify another Hypnothoughts member, and then we can find each other and chat." I said, "Well, that sounds wonderful."
Right.
And then my good friend and mentor, Michael Elner, who just passed. Michael's been a close friend and mentor for me my entire career, and he was amazing. And he said, "Scott, you should talk to the guild before you go doing something like that." And I said, "You're right." So I contacted them, and I said, "Hey, is it cool if we do this button thing? I'm trying to be respectful. I'll buy a vendor booth and not sell anything. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll put up a post on our site saying, what is and isn't comfortable for you guys. Like, I just want to be cool." And they wrote back a very nasty response saying, "Stay away from our conference."
Whoa.
And why would you think you're welcome? Which I, was disappointed by, because I've gone to, a lot of conferences, and that was the first time I'd gotten a response sort of like that. And then one of their, sort of their bigwig guys is Cal Banyan, who's, an important hypnotist. And he showed up on Hypnothoughts.com and wrote this really scathing, Scott's trying to do unethical things kind of response on,
wow.
I was stealing and poaching and I had bad intentions, when it was never my intention to do the thing.
Yeah, you were very respectful about it, yeah.
Yeah, and I laughed it off. And so Richard Clarke and I were sitting in a room, and we were totally joking about this. We would never do it. We're like, these guys just aren't even fun. Like, we're just trying to have fun and have people meet. We're not trying to teach hypnosis. We're just trying to have fun. And so Richard very jokingly said, "What we should do is go rent a couple RVs and park them across the street from the NGH convention and say, this is the place for fun, welcoming, happy people. Go over there and take your classes, and when you want to actually enjoy yourself, come over here to this parking lot." And obviously we were never going to do that. But like this whole fight about the buttons just kept getting bigger and bigger, and all these people were just kind of fighting, and I was trying to stay as much out of it as I could, because it's a dumb internet fight. But Richard and I kept joking about it, and at some point it stopped being funny and started being a good idea, and then we said, "You know what, let's go for it." And Richard said, "Okay." And he just Googled it real fast, and he said, "Here's a venue, here's an idea, here's what we could do differently." And in like 2 days, we had the whole idea, and we made a couple phone calls to a couple presenters. They said, "We'd love to come." And in year one, we had about 250 people, and now we're around 1,000. So it's been really fun to watch that growth happen, and it came from a desire to meet in person. And further those relationships, and to create a sense of welcoming community, which is why we currently offer free booths to all the organizations, including the NGH. Even though we were off to a rocky start with them, we still offer them a free booth every year.
Oh, that's amazing! I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. We think it's important for all the people who come to get exposed to as many different opportunities and points of view as possible, and they're a valid organization, of course, just like the others. And so I think it's fair to treat them all respectfully.
And that goes back to my whole thing, is they saw you as competition, whereas you're like, I want to be respectful. I want to collaborate. So obviously Hypnothoughts is attracting many people based on that community idea.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. I'll tell you, like myself and everybody that I've ever spoken to has just raved about it. Everybody's so happy. They're so happy about the level of the speakers that you have. And also, it is fun as shit. Like, seriously? It is so fun. Like, I look forward to it all year long. It's like a vacation for me, even though I'm going for 10 days straight, taking pre and post and teaching and things like that. It is just so much fun. I can't tell you.
Well, so it is. It really is fun. And the reason we've gotten so many presenters, I mean, really awesome, great people, and new people that don't present anywhere else. It's a fun mix, is because we've created an atmosphere that's intentionally different from the other conferences. Because, like, you go to 4 or 5 or 10 or 20, or in my case, 50-something hypnosis conferences, and the patterns emerge, right? you go to these conferences and you put on the suit, you go down and have the check-in, the same dozen people win awards, and then they say there's dancing afterwards, but 75% of the people leave and they don't really know what to do to have fun. Yeah. And so much of the value of these conferences happens outside of the classroom, right? And getting thought leaders to just sit down and bullshit with each other, right? To bounce ideas off each other, and to have like a Michael Watson and a Melissa Tears talking, just going back and forth and pushing each other, and have Karen Hand come in and say something, and to have all these conversations happening, and to have some guy or girl that's a year into the profession be welcome at that table and just soak that up. That's incredible. And we need to create as many opportunities to do that as we can. That's why when we took the venue over at the Orleans, we made them, they said, okay, we'll clear out the hallways. And I was like, no, put chairs in the hallways, put coffee tables in the hallways. Yeah. I want little areas where people have insightful conversations. And I think we were all hungry for that. And so we've got these amazing presenters supporting us now. And, with the quality of those presenters, it makes sense for everyone to come to this event.
Excellent, excellent. So what have you seen? Because you've been doing hypnosis for 15 years, and especially in drug rehab. Like, I often say to myself, what is the rate of people is like, the success rate is like, it's something ridiculous. Like, if I say I'm giving it 20%, I'm probably saying that's high. Right.
If you said to a drug rehab center you've got a 20% success rate, they would be very doubtful. They would. And the reason for that, well, there's a few reasons for that. The biggest factor that a lot of people don't pay attention to when you look at the success rates of chemical dependency centers is how many people who walk in don't want to be there at all.
Oh, okay, so family
either a family member or a judge is making them be there. Or they go to prison, or they get divorced. And so there's these people that are literally just counting the 30 days and then they get to leave, or 60 days and then they get to leave, but they have no intention of changing, right? And over half the people in a lot of these locations are only there to avoid prison time. And when you look at a population where half the people in there are actively trying to ignore and mock the therapy going on, that also has a net negative effect on a couple of the other people with neutral to weak good intentions. And so to have a population that is that polluted with negativity makes it a difficult environment in which to get better. Now, there are some wonderful rehabs out there, and they also have a concept that who says you have to get better your first try? That they have a long form philosophy where, I've been in a rehab where the case manager looked at a client and said, look, all I'm doing with this guy is planting seeds. He has no intention of getting better right now, and he's young and he's cocky, and he's sure he doesn't have to talk about any of his vulnerabilities or traumas. He needs to just do it his way. So all I can do is plant seeds. And hopefully the next time he goes to rehab, when he relapses and goes back, hopefully the seeds I've planted will be helpful then. And so we have to look at it from a different lens than we look at our private practices, where people come in motivated, holding the newspaper clip back in the old days, and they say, "I heard you helped Bob stop smoking. I want to stop smoking. Help me stop smoking today." The rehabs don't have that population. That's just not who's there. So expectations need to be different.
But I always thought, though, because we have so many amazing techniques for trauma release and all the things that are triggering people, as well as aversion, the things we do with smoking and things like that, if there was a hypnotist in every drug rehab center, I'm sure that would account for an amazingly higher success rate.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate that I've worked with 8 rehabs now, and some of them I'm still working with, some of them I'm not. But I've also been fortunate enough to have a good relationship with the people in charge. So I brought in other hypnotists and helped get other hypnotists connected to other drug rehab centers. And so it's really fun to see all these different hypnotists with their own styles and their own approaches be able to bring our tools into that environment, and to be part of a treatment team that says, yeah, we can do forgiveness of self and others. We can do trauma release stuff. We can do, future pacing work and those kinds of things, and help build resources and take the trash out with these motivated members of that community. So it's really fun to see that it's building, and I'm optimistic about what we can do there.
Excellent. So I love to ask this question because every hypnotist has not just 1, 2, maybe 10 amazing, miraculous stories. What is the one thing you want to share with everybody about something you did with hypnosis that was completely astounding?
So, I mean, for me in my life, I got into hypnosis as a skeptic, but I was one of those people who opiates don't work very well on at all. And so when I was in a car accident, hypnosis helped me to get out of pain when nothing else was working. And I was trying physical therapy and opiates and acupuncture and stretching. I would do anything and I went into hypnosis saying, I don't think this is going to work, but it did. And it made a dramatic difference for me. And so pain control was the area that I was really passionate about, especially being an athlete. Pain control was the area. And so in my mind, the two that pop out the most are I hypnotized a woman for skull surgery without anesthesia because she was allergic to the anesthesia that they wanted to use, and they couldn't. So I did hypnosis for that. And then when my son was born, the epidural did not work on my wife. And so I used hypnosis for childbirth. And I know, there's a lot of wonderful people who do hypnosis for childbirth, whether it's hypnobabies or hypnobirthing or any of the other systems out there. Those are great. I know a lot of people do it all the time. But because it was my son, it was miraculous for me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was so awesome to just have my wife be comfortable and present and tired but grateful, and just to have that experience was for me miraculous.
Yeah, certainly for pain management, hypnosis is pretty miraculous. So any last thoughts you want to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I do. In keeping with the idea that this is not about competition, I still go to hypnosis conferences, right? And to other conferences, and it's not to market and not to promote. I've been to 50 hypnosis conferences without ever selling anything. I really am strong on this. Go to these events. Come to Hypnothoughts Live, go to IMDHA, go to, whatever. I'm not going to list all the conferences. There's plenty of them. And I'll leave one out and someone will be mad at me. Go to them. You really owe it to yourself to explore new ideas, and the kind of information you get there is different, and you get exposed to new things, and it's low risk. So instead of, having to pay for an entire week or weekend training with some big name, you get to spend an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours with somebody that you normally wouldn't, but just because you're there, you try it out and you learn something new, or you find out you really don't like that thing and you're glad you didn't spend the money. So go do that. That's why we have the 1, 2, and 4 hour classes are all free at Hypnothoughts Live, because we want everyone to be exposed to as wide a variety of ideas as possible. And so whether it's at our conference or any other, you'll see, look for value, look for the ethos of that conference, and find the ones that you match up with, find the ones that are the right value for you, and go to new presenters. Don't just go to the presenters you already know you love. Yeah. If you've been to, David Snyder, who's a dear friend of mine, and he fills the damn room every talk, and it's because he's excellent. David and I came up in the industry together, and he's an old friend of mine, and he's older than me. And I used to be the young guy, and I'm not anymore. But he fills the room. And I'd like to say, if you've been to every one of David's talks, go find out who's presenting in the room to his left or his right. Yeah. And if you've never been to one of his talks, do go to one of his talks, because it's full for a reason. And do that kind of thing and get exposed to new ideas. And that's what the conference is for. And thank you for all this.
You're very welcome, and thank you. And I look forward to seeing you at Hypnothoughts Live.
I'll see you in Vegas.
See you in Vegas, baby.